Hi everyone, my name is Yolanda, and today I'm gonna show you how I make Dominican cake. Many people have written me emails asking me to please do a Dominican cake and then cover it with fondant. Okay, so I'm going to make a small Dominican cake today. The ingredients are 1 pound of sugar and 1 pound of butter. You may also use margarine. All right. Then I have here 1 pound of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and a pinch of salt. 1 pound of flour is like 2 and maybe 3/4 of cups. Okay, now if you don't have a scale, you could go by 2 cups and maybe 3/4 of all-purpose flour. Also, a cup of milk with a tablespoon of Dominican vanilla. If you do not have Dominican vanilla, you could use any vanilla that you have. Also, I have the zest of 1 lime right here, and I have eggs. I'm going to use 10 eggs because I have separated the egg whites. Okay, first of all, these are the egg yolks. Okay, I have 10 here. Now, the egg white, I separated. I put 4 in here because these 4, I'm going to beat these until it forms peak. And then I will fold that into my batter. And the rest, which are 6, right? I'm going to refrigerate that, and I'm going to use that for my meringue. I will cream my sugar and my butter here. All right, then I will add the eggs right here, one by one. Okay, then I will add the flour, the baking powder, and the salts with the milk and the vanilla. Okay, I will alternate them. A little bit of the flour mixture, and then a little bit of the liquid. All right. Okay, the liquid, I have milk here, but you can use whatever other liquid that you want. It could be water or even juice. All right, and then I will fold my egg whites. Okay, once I start beating them, I will fold and they form peak. I will fold this into my batter, and then finally I will be adding the zest of the lime. Okay, you can bake a great cake if you start the process right. So preheat your oven to 350. Prepare your cake pans, and then you start your process. So let's start the process right now. While I'm creaming my butter and my sugar, I am going to beat the egg white. Alright, so now I have already mixed all my ingredients. I'm just making sure that the folded um, egg whites are mixed in with the batter. If you notice, this batter is kind of thick. It's not very liquidy. It's kind of thick. It's not runny. Right now, what I'm going to do to finalize the process is I'm going to incorporate the lemon zest. So now here I have my 2 baking pans, and I'm going to divide the dough, the batter, in both pans as follows, okay? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna scoop up some of that in there. And in here as well. Alright. I'm just making sure that everything is evenly distributed among both cake pans. Alright, this is good. So this is how I'm going to place them in my oven, just like this, diagonally. Okay, one on top and one at the bottom. I just took my cakes out of the oven. They are done. Nice and soft to the touch. Okay, now before I cover them in meringue and then in fondant, I have to let them cool like that for a couple of hours. But before I do that, I'm going to spray some simple syrup. The recipe to make simple syrup is in the information section of this video. Simple syrup is just that. It's a syrup to give the cake more moist when we spray over it and we just let it rest. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to spray some simple syrup over my cake lightly. I let the cake soak in the syrup, and that'll make the cake soft and moist. Okay, but I need to let it rest before I do anything else. So the filling for my cake is going to be guava. Okay, guava is a paste that Spanish people, especially Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, we love that. It's guava is a tropical fruit. Okay, and this is the paste. This is guava paste, and it's delicious. And we use it a lot to fill our Dominican cakes. What I do is I break it from here, right? The paste. I take out whatever portion I'm going to use, put it in a pot like this one here, okay? And I just try to break it up a little bit like this, okay? And I'll add maybe an eighth or maybe a quarter cup water, and just let it simmer and let it become more liquidy, the paste. But I also like to leave some chunks. I like it to be chunky. Okay, so here it is. I put it to boil, and I think I used maybe 3 tablespoons of water. Okay, and look how it came out. Alright, and the longer I leave it on the stove, the thicker it'll get. But I don't want it to turn again into a paste. I just want it to soften and get a little bit of that paste dissolved, a little liquid. But I also left some chunks. If you notice, um, there are some chunks, small chunks here. Okay. And so this is how it's supposed to look. If you don't want the chunks, then you gotta let it boil a little bit more and constantly keep stirring it so the bottom doesn't burn. Okay, so this is my cake. Okay, I had just taken out, and look how beautiful. All right, that's it. I made this batch of meringue. Okay, I'm not going to cover my cake the regular way. I'm just going to give it a crumb coat. A crumb coat is a thin layer of icing just to seal in all the crumbs around your cake. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, it's time for me to cover my cake with fondant. The first thing that I need to do is measure my cake on top. It's almost 9 inches. Okay, on the top. And like 3.5 here on either side. Okay, so this will be 3.5, and 3.5 will be 7 plus 9. That will be almost 16 inches round. So when I cut my fondant, I'm going to cut it 16 inches. Okay, let's get started. What I'm doing right now is just taking out any air bubbles that I might find. You could use a needle, a pen, and when you do that, you do it on a diagonal. Here's the final product. I added some tiny ruffles here on the edge to give it a nice touch and a finished touch. Okay, I also added a flower up here. So all the things that you need to make this cake is in my channel. That is the video to make the fondant, to make the meringue, which is also called suspiro, okay, and to make the cake itself. I also have a video on how to make these flowers. Thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that you share this video and subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Alright, so thank you. God bless. I will see you back here next week.